Hey there, everybody, it's Russ, and welcome to your favorite 90 minutes of bike nerdery. This is the ACN show, Alternative Cycling Network, and I'm joined once again by our awesome co-host. What are we calling this? Is this just like a...
Sure, yeah, you could say that. That works.
We've got Eric from Spindat, Michael from Locked In, and today we're going to be talking about three big industry fails. I think that's the topic we pre-selected. But before we jump into that, we mentioned in the last live stream that we wanted to kind of make this thing more legit, right? Part of being legit is having the on-point branding, and that means a logo. And we asked you guys to help us out with a logo, not because we were cheap or too cheap for Fiverr, but we wanted a groundswell.
That's right. Yeah, community ground.
Yeah. Community ground. We're not going to go the corporate route and pay the man or pay a man.
The damn gig economy.
So before we launch into our topic, three big bike fails in the bike industry, or three big fails in the bike industry, I think I'm going to just show you guys some of the logos that you guys submitted because they're pretty rad. First one here is from Ian. Whoops.
Oh, that's us.
That's us. I'm going to back it up.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. So first one here is from Ian Crombie. Yeah.
I'm not wearing that.
And this one's pretty slick. You can tell Ian, has some design skills, probably works for an agency, or if not, he freelances. There's this whole concept document. What do you guys think?
I like it. I like this.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. It has that like 80s, maybe early 90s like metal vibe. This is totally sweet. Yeah. I love the
I wish we had like a high-pitched metal riff to play with it right now.
I get. For our next episode, we need a soundboard, Russ, so we can have these things on queued up. Yeah,
well, we need after we get the logo, we need a theme song. Which we will also crowdsource.
Oh, yeah.
We will also outsource for free for people to.
Yeah. But we'll shout out your Instagram once. Yeah.
All right. So that was from Ian Crombie. Thank you very much, Ian. That was pretty legit. Then we've got this one from Dylan Stanfield. I don't know what you call this kind of graphical effect here.
That's the TikTok logo.
Is it the TikTok logo?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like when your old projection TV was like out of sync, and all like the bulbs were like kind of off.
Right.
Yeah. It's all the colors.
Nice.
To me, I thought like it was initially bike chain when you had it small.
Right.
You know?
That would be a cool concept though. Like have the bike chain, but with that kind of distorted video look.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
Okay.
I'd wear that. I'd wear it on a shirt.
Yeah. And then this one is, I like this one. This one's kind of a nod to our national and state parks. This one is by Garrett Heidelberg, I believe. This is pretty sweet. Supple Life Party Pace.
I'd put it on a pack. I'd put it on a jacket. I'd make a patch of it and put it on a jacket.
ACN gang. Yeah.
This one's from Matt Pollard. He's got a couple concepts here. I like this one. This one's super clean, super simple. What do you guys think of this one?
This is my favorite one.
Yeah.
It's also a small metaphor for my life, but it's nice to know that there's other people involved.
and if I don't know how it's showing up on obviously the live stream, but if anybody can't read that on the top there, it says held together with duct tape and zip ties. Yeah. I love that they nodded to that from the old conversation. I personally love this. If anybody's out there watching or and can run on that, like a graphic version of this somehow, some way, I think would be awesome. Something literally held together with duct tape and zip ties. I think would be a cool concept.
This one kind of campfire vibes. It's got this one reminds me of like a cattle brand,
It just looks like a very simple view of a bike from the back with two saddlebags.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
This to me screams like when you go to college and it's like the intro book, to like your campus.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I dropped out of
alternative
university.
cycling
So.
college. Yeah.
Yeah, cycling college. That's what this is. I mean, do we give? We're accredited, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We should totally give diplomas.
Yeah. Hey.
This one's cool. I love like the hand drawn feeliness of it. You know, not so rigid. Pretty sweet. So that is Matt Pollard. Thank you, Matt Pollard, for your submission. This one is from Sharil Mohammed.
So, BMX sprocket.
Yeah.
Which I'm all about.
Cool. I think this would like if logos like this like would print really well in like a patch or like a shirt or something. Just super bold and punchy and graphical. That's kind of cool. Opposite end of the spectrum, we've got something a little bit more hand drawn. A lot of the viewers on Pathless Pell know I like illustrations. Probably wouldn't work so much as a logo, but still kind of a fun handmade touch.
Drawn by bikes is hard.
Yeah,
I like that. It's got he's also in like the 50. You know,
right? That's the mullet. Man, I think that's a 60 tooth.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it looks like it's basically a small wheel in there.
Nice.
I want a version of that to hang up in the shed. I want that.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got two more to show. Two more to share. This one is from Robert Mayers. Let me move this in front of my face so you guys can see it. So this one a little bit more minimal. I like the King of the Mountains kind of mountainy reference.
Yeah, that's what we are, right? Yeah.
Right.
How many KOMs do we all have collectively? Yeah.
I've got 4.
Oh, there you go. I think I have 1.
So how many do we have?
Yeah.
I'm gonna find some random hill in Montana because and just make one.
Russ is gonna go like camp out for 3 days, so he's out of civilization by 47 miles, and then from there make a segment. Yeah.
And this last one is from Jeff Peterson. Again, a little bit more graphical, reproduced well, pretty modern looking, pretty sweet.
I think I like that. I think to me, it just reads like the progression from like the BMX sprocket, which to me reads like what we all started like, our version of BMX, which is me was a Huffy, and some people who actually rode BMX like Eric. I think, it's like the progression of what you came from to what you're at now, which is, like the bigger gear, So I think that's a cool concept.
Right. So you guys in the YouTube chats, do you guys have any favorites? Let us know. We'll throw it up on the screen.
At all, Russ?
What's that?
Did you ride BMX at all?
Did I? For a hot second as a kid, but not very well. I think I went from like the big three wheel bike with the brake that you would.
Oh, the handbrake. Oh yeah.
From there to like a small BMX, and then
it's like
didn't ride bikes until my 20s. Yeah. Cool. So we've got some people are stoked on the metal one or the park patch version. Those are both pretty cool. Yeah. Another one for the state park homage. Awesome.
And for everybody, whatever, if you're submitting stuff this week, we'll still take into consideration before we, pick our top one. So don't be scared to send in something if you get inspired.
Yeah. So the plan is, I think we're going to extend the call out for just another week. And then we'll set up a poll where you guys can vote. We'll pre-select the top 3 and have you guys vote. And hopefully they pick a good one, right?
Shoot, Bodie McBoatface.
I know.
Yeah.
At least we didn't ask them to name the channel. Otherwise, we'd get we get Channel McChannel face.
Yeah, that's
it. Every time.
That's a dangerous thing, but that was you could trust me with.
That was the thing with my last bike build. It was like I couldn't pick a decal color, so I did a poll and I stuck to it. And like luckily, like it looks good, So like I was like, all right, guys. I was like, well, they can see it. It's live on the video. Like you can't take it. Like I was like, it's on there, so people can see if I was lying if I don't actually pick the one that everybody did. But it went well. So yeah,
right. Holding you accountable.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna hop into our topic of the day, and that is what we think are 3 big bike industry fails. And I think I'm gonna kick it off. I'm gonna present it, then we'll discuss it, and then we'll move on down the line. And before I share what I think is a big bike industry fail, I think I have to qualify it a little bit, because I know some people are gonna be butthurt, but let me explain. So I have nothing against racing. I have lots of friends that race. I know you've heard that. And I do think that competitive cycling has brought lots of innovation that we enjoy, or I enjoy as just a regular pleb. But I think one of the big bike industry fails is an over-reliance on competitive cycling. A good example is right now. I mean, there is no competitive cycling to be had. There is a big, some people are calling a mini bike boom with new cyclists. The problem with that is, I think after things go to whatever semblance of normal, is all those people that bought bikes during times of COVID probably won't stick to them. And a big part of that is because there isn't a support system to really bring a new cyclist that's not interested into racing and turn them into someone passionate about the act of cycling. The industry, I think, is very good at training athletes. You've got NICA, all these kind of all these pathways into competitive cycling, but very few that reach out to kind of the average cyclists and just have them love the activity. So in that way, it's one of those things where if the bike industry were a business, it should be a business. They're basically not diversified. They've pushed racing hard. That's where they put all the money, all the R&D, all the events, all the support. And now when there's literally no racing, it's just what do? They got
all this money laying around.
Yeah. Well, they have all this money laying around. They have this big opportunity to not just sell bikes to the same cycling enthusiasts that already exist, but to develop more cycling enthusiasts. But I don't think they know how to speak to people to bring them from people who just got a bike, support them if they just want to commute, and then maybe hope that they'll turn into a cycling enthusiast after that. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy to say that they're not doing that, because they're definitely not. But it is hard to, especially for someone like me, because I do love racing so much, to not be looked at as a racer guy, for one, and then for two, for me to try and forget about racing and just be no, riding a bike just to even get somewhere is fun. But you look at me and I'm standing there, fairly fit with a road bike in front of me, and I'm road biking and biking in general is just an intimidating thing in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've certainly, I remember the 2 years that I wanted to even get into racing or whatever. And I was like, geez, I just don't want to bother anybody. All these people are pros,
Right.
And everybody that preconceived notion that everything with drop bars is $10,000 to $20,000. You're
yeah.
Wow, all those bikes, they're crazy expensive. There's no cheap ones. I think cycling has, put themselves into this bad box of being elitist, expensive, and somewhat unwelcoming. Mm-hmm. How do you fix that?
I think that honestly, it stems, to me at least, from the ground level, from the level of the consumer coming into the bike shop. I remember an old shop I applied to. I think I was in college, and I went in, and I knew some stuff, not, and I remember going in and still being treated like I was an idiot. I think that there's still some shops out there that aren't welcoming to the new cyclists, that have the questions, that want to know about why do I, what's the, I've literally had this conversation hundreds of times of, I could just get a Walmart bike. Why am I going to buy the $300 version? To me, it looks the same. It's got the bar straight. It's, got gears. It's got brakes.
It's got shocks.
It's all the same. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trust me. I had one guy who yelled at me once because he was like, I can get a full suspension mountain bike for $300 at Walmart. I'm not going to pay and our giant stance or whatever is like, it's got awards for the most affordable, best full suspension mountain bike you can get into. And it was like, I don't know, $1,500. I'm like, dude, you can't get full suspension for under $2,000. He's like, I can get it for $300 all day long. Those are the kind of conversations that I'm happy to have, but it's a very specific person that's willing to have those conversations. Mm-hmm. And there's shops that you go to that are very intimidating,
for sure.
And I think that's really where it stems from is like, if you think about it, if you go to a car dealership, everybody's your best friend. The second you show up, everyone wants to talk to you. You go to some bike shops and you can walk around for whatever minutes because you don't look like you're gonna buy the full SRAM Access build road bike, or whatever. And I think that's really where it stems from. I think there's very inviting shops that either cater to the common man, mm-hmm. and I think the great shops are the ones that can do it to every man, no matter mm-hmm. where you come in at. And it's learning how to talk to people. I know a lot of technical aspects of cycling, but I'm not going to bring that up for somebody who was like interested in just like, hey man, I need a bike for school. I want something reliable, and give me the 30 seconds on why this is better than Walmart. And I think that's really where it stems from. Is like you have to be comfortable there, and that warm, inviting environment is what's going to keep them coming back. And then in a year, like, hey man, I'm doing 35 miles and I'm just getting bored, or my hands hurt, or I want to go to do a century. There's this cool charity ride I finally heard about through my buddies, and we're all doing it on our beach cruisers or whatever. And then it comes into like, hey, maybe they'll want to come in and get a road bike. Right. Whatever, or whatever their progression is. I always prefaced when I work with people, like, what do you want to do? Mm-hmm. Is that just going to school? Then, okay, let's get you something cheap. So if it gets stolen or whatever, it's not heartbreak. Hey, it's somebody who's like, oh, I want to ride on the weekend and I might want to ride longer later. Or, hey, there's a charity ride I'm training for. Great. Let's get you something that works.
Yeah. I think a lot of kind of my thoughts on cycling were formulated when I tried to get into it again as a young adult, and it was kind mm-hmm. of the tail end of the Lance Armstrong years. Mm. So, racing.
Did you have a bracelet? What? Did you have a bracelet? Did you have a bracelet? No,
I came in as like, I just quit smoking, You're
living strong.
Yeah. I hadn't been doing anything active, but my truck died. I needed to get around. So I went into the bike, borrowed a neighbor's bike, and was like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. But early on, I was the absolute definition of like a Fred. I had like a big ass mirror, all the fluoro, complete, bike dork.
Did you have the 8-liter like saddlebag that was never tight enough that would just flop around all the time?
Yeah, there's the thing. It's like I'd go to the bike shop and ask them about, do you have these things called panniers? Because I didn't know how it was pronounced. Or racks or a Brooks saddle, and I got like this sideways look, like, why would you want to put any shit on your bike? Because back then, that it was all race all the time for almost all the shops like where I lived, and this was in like Long Beach. So it's a much different landscape now. I think with things like gravel, bike packing's a thing. People aren't afraid or less afraid to strap things onto their bike because it can be cool and fast looking. I definitely think cyclists now have it, or new cyclists now definitely have a little bit better than like a decade ago.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, during time, like, I remember that. Like, certainly I got into actual cycling later than that, but like, yeah, I remember how lame it was to even just have like a saddlebag under your, like the smallest. You're like, I don't put bring it in your pockets, like. And I remember going like spending a lot of, like, I wanted to be a cyclist. Like, I had commuted on a single speed for a long time. I wanted to start like road biking. Like, I was just like, I was one of the ones that like got all the And then I was like, okay, like what are all the cool things to be cool? And then like you go on the Veluminati site and you're like, okay, wow, there's like 150 rules I have to follow. And like I followed them for like 2 years. And like I was like
stressful, man.
Like,
it was hard back in the day.
Sucky, yeah. Like and I was like one of these sucky guys that like made fun of people for not following the rules. I've obviously gotten a lot more relaxed on that. But like it took time. And like I could see why people, like I could see how I even then might have turned some people off. Like they're like, I don't know, I was just kind of thinking about like riding a bike. I'm like, it's not about just riding a bike. Like you gotta kill your legs. Like,
well, so you know what? One thing I think that's super fascinating is the number of bike YouTubers that have just jumped on Zwift and don't even ride outside anymore. And to me, that's like, okay, it's actually not about riding the bike. It's just the metrics at that point.
That's right.
Well, yeah, you're like, yeah, you got your weekly Strava goal. Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm literally playing a physical video game.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if you've ever ridden a bike outside, but like, it's great. Like, it's really, really fun.
Yeah. So my point isn't to, like to throw bike racing under the bus. I enjoy attending. I enjoy, attending cross races. I follow, the world tours, spring classics, all that stuff. I have my own like favorite riders. So it's not so much, my problem isn't so much that racing exists, that it's just the only thing that the bike industry seems to put any muscle behind or money behind, and not anything else, for not even close to the same degree. So, so that's bike fail number one. Damn it.
yeah. Like here's all these this minority of people who actually want to race a bike, who actually want to go through the process of riding in a huge group, very close together, very, very fast.
Oh yeah.
And like break your collarbone. Like you are going to break your collarbone. You got to be okay with that.
Not if it's when.
It's when, like it's like a carpenter. You're gonna lose a finger, just who knows which one.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the game. You're gonna break your collarbone, you're gonna have bad crashes. Can you as a large cycling manufacturer or company possibly see why like a large majority of people might not want to see that as your marketing strategy? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, and here's another way. So, I mentioned that competitive cycling has brought lots of benefits to us as non-elite racers, right? But in some ways, it's also been to the detriment of bike design. I think until gravel, it was hard to find kind of a lightish weight bike with wider tires and that could carry stuff. At peak Armstrong, you had your ultra fast light road bike, and then your heavy ass touring bike, and nothing in between.
Fender mounts or like rack mounts on a carbon bike,
right?
Like non-existent. Yeah. I think that's really where there is. I think now it's starting to morph, because to me, I think now things are more. Gravel's a weird thing. I think it's more event driven. Like now somebody will literally say, this is a dirty Kansas bike. You know, like that's not it's not a thing. It's just like, it's because it's long distance. It's an all day. You need comfort, whatever. And so they're designing it for like these events. And yes, it is a race, but I still feel like at the core, there are so many of these things that now are basically like, it's so hard. You have to lottery everything because so many people want to do this that it kind of takes some of the non-racing out of it. Like I'd love to do Dirty Kansas just to do it. Like I'm not going to do the DK 200. Like I'm good. Like I don't need to do that. Like if I can do the 50 and drink a beer every mile, like I'll do it. Like, will I do the 100? Yeah, sure. But like, I don't need to do the 350 or whatever the mega DK is. Like I'm fine. Like I don't need that. And I wouldn't live. I would be there 4 days later. That's when I would show up across the finish line. Everything would be packed up and people would like be there in the street, be like, where'd you come from? I'm like, what? This is not the end of the race. So
I rode here from the
from the start. This is where it ended, right? So like that, I don't need that. But I want the experience. I want to meet those people that are there. And I think I think that's the beauty of the gravel segment. And right now there's no official racing. There's no like category. Like if you go win every single gravel event, you don't get anything. There's no jersey. There's no whatever. So I think now it's so event driven.
I think USA Cycling was trying to turn some gravel events into points races. So
right, and that's the alternative, like EF team, like that's the alternative. They're only doing like alt events, which is fine, but it's like if I go podium every Belgian Waffle, DK, Grinduro, whatever, nothing happens. I think that's the beauty of it, and I think that's gonna slowly kind of be chipped away in these major events. But it's like that's the beauty of gravel riding. It's like I've ridden and talked to random dudes that are on like touring bikes or whatever. We're just all out there to ride bikes, drink beer, and like hope we make it. Like that's it. Like that's what it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more like interesting like stories in the gravel event are like the mid and rear pack. That's where
the Clydesdale group.
The real suffering.
Yeah,
not
the Clydesdale
suffering
group,
at 25 miles per hour. This is like
the people who are like, I didn't bring the right tires for this. At all. Yeah, and I got a lot of flats.
Like one of my best was when we did Grinduro. There's a dude that rode with me for a little while. Like we were just talking. He recognized me from the channel, which I thought was hilarious. And he's like, yeah, dude, I just got this bike like 2 weeks ago. I was like, you're insane. And I was like, I've loosely like tried to ride and train for this, like barely. Yeah. You're crazy. Like this is, and it was amazing. And I would just chit chat with whoever. And especially the people who lived out there that were just like, this was like their everyday, whatever climb. That was like the beauty of those events. And like, you're not going to do that in a Peloton. Like no one's going to, like I have no interest in doing Belgian Waffle. Like, because of that, because it's an all-out crit dirt race. Like that's all it is. Like it's just that's who everybody shows up, and I think there are still those events that hold on to that kind of like core of it. But because the popularity, which is great, I think people are getting on bikes, but at the end of the day, it's like you're eventually going to lose that like that aspect of it, that makes it great for everybody, Yeah.
I mean,
I
think what drew me initially, at least to the gravel event side of things, was the misfit aspect of it. But I feel like over the years it's going to become less and less misfit and be more like disenchanted roadies.
yeah, totally. Yeah. Or like the guys that just I mean that's I think where it's going to go too. I mean Ted King was like right next to, he was like 20 feet from where me and my buddy Mario camped. For Grinduro, and he was doing like a podcast, and like me and him were freaking out, like, dude, what are we gonna wear tomorrow? Like it's gonna be 30 and then it's gonna be like snowing, and he's just sitting there talking to somebody, he just like chilling, like it was no big deal. This is a casual Sunday for him.
So here's a question. So I proposed my thesis that racing is not bad in of itself. Maybe the over reliance on racing as like the primary driver of cycling could be problematic. Thinking of all the new people that are buying bikes because of COVID, if we could change something in the bike industry, what do you guys think would need to happen to bring these people that don't identify as cyclists to learn to love the activity enough to be enthusiasts down the road? Any thoughts? I know, Mike, you were saying the bike shops are going to play a big role.
I think that's the most. I mean, I think that's really where you develop it, because my favorite moments from managing a shop to working at a shop in college and everything in between, one of my favorite stories was it was a mother-daughter combo that came in, and she thought that Walmart prices were everybody's prices. Came in, said, I got $200. I want 2 bikes. And I was very honest. I was like, I can't do that. But I was like, where, like, I just want to know, like, what's your budget? What are you trying to do? And they were trying to do this, like, I think it was a 25-mile charity ride in San Diego. I'm like, I've done that ride. I did the 75-mile version or whatever it was. And I was like, it's a challenging ride. And I walked her through, this is what happens if you bring a Walmart bike or buy one, and you're going to come in, you're going to need to service it. It's parts I can't even order because they don't make them. And had this great conversation. She walked out there with 2 hybrids and a Thule rack. Spent $1,000. And the money wasn't, I'm saying the money just for the story scenario, but it just, she called me after the event. No reason to, called me and is like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so glad we spent the money. All of my friends didn't finish. They all bought Walmart, Target, whatever bikes, department store that weren't tuned, that weren't set up, that didn't fit right. We were the only ones that completed it. And that moment, she's like, that we got it. And she's like, we got a medal, like a, something to wear. And she's like, thank you so much. It was completely worth it. And no one had taken the time to explain that aspect to me. And we had been to, she's like, you were the third or fourth shop we went to that day.
Right.
But I took the time. And now, and I saw her for the year and a half or whatever I worked there. She came back regularly, get regular tunes, whatever. It's that relationship to where like, she's like, I don't know how we're going to do 25 miles. Well, they did it. And now, that whole aspect from that point gets pushed, and I think that's really where you have to harness that relationship. Our industry is very difficult until you get to this like level of like, for me, it's like clothing. Like I don't buy clothes online. Like I can't do that. Like, if I loved a brand enough, sure, I could probably buy a jersey eventually, but that's after 3 or 4 of owning, I think that's where cycling is like, it's such a tactile thing that still requires that human touch and aspect to it, especially if you're getting into it, because there's so much information.
Right.
And
so I'm going to segue real quick so bike shops are a good source. I'd like to think, I'm going to segue into our cycling media.
Yeah. Hey,
YouTube can be a good source for this stuff too. Yeah. Right. And it's good to have other channels, maybe not just, the elephant in the room, GCN, promoting one type of cycling, but different aspects. I don't know. What do you think, Eric?
I mean, I think, I'm going to use my channel as an example because it's a vlog. It is a good, it's 85% cycling with 15% of my life. And when I'm living my life, I have to go out and do stuff like, and I'm doing that all via bike. And I like to think that someone who is thinking about getting a bike for even right now, like during COVID, they're like, geez, I'd love to have something to pass time, but like, also be somewhat useful. And it's like, okay, I use a bike to get to work. And then I use a bike to come home, strap a BMX to my back and go to the skate park on my bike. Like I've got 2 bikes with me, these are the things that you thought if someone said to you were ridiculous that I'm like doing right now. Like I went grocery shopped, like I have my groceries on my back coming home. Like Angela and I wanted to have pad thai tonight. Like I stopped, grabbed pad thai on bike on the way home and brought it
home.
To
Thailand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's why he's so tired.
Yeah. It's not the time of day at all.
Yeah.
But like, I think, like there's enough marketing that says you could take a bike and race it. There's not enough that says you could take a bike and have a good time.
Sure. Yeah.
So like, if something's not saying that you can go just have a good time and not think about the competitive side so much, then if that's all you see is racing and like, bikes are for recreation. You take them on, you throw them on the back of your car and you go to the local.
You ride to the beach. Yeah.
Like I think that's a huge kind of handicap that bikes have always had, where it's like, for where I'm at, there's a lot of recreational trails that go nowhere. Like it's like, and then people are always driving their car there with the bike on the back, and I'm like, why don't you just, I don't know, like you could just
ride there.
You could bike there. Like you can use, you're allowed to use a bike wherever you want. Like they can be anything. Like you can camp with a bike. You can like, I spent a lot of time working on bikes. Like if you can't afford to like, build a car, you could build a bike for cheap. Like,
for sure.
There's a lot of ways to spend time with a bike that doesn't involve racing. Racing is fun. I like to race. And if you spend enough time doing all this cool stuff that I like to think that I portray, in my vlog, you know, maybe you'll find yourself wanting to race, but like sometimes it's more beneficial and more fun to go to dinner by bike.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that's really where our channels like kind of bring everything together. I think we all collectively bring different aspects of like the beauty and the culture and the possibilities. I think that's the best way to put it. The possibilities you can have with cycling. Like we've all done our vlogs, we've all done our rides and in different capacities, whether it's epic, you know, few day bike packing trips to going to the BMX park or whatever it is and everything in between. I think that's really where it's just like we're showing like this like culture and like it's not this, you know, like I did a series on Granduro because I was just like scared and like had to do it and like I wanted to like be like here's an average dude that's like not ready, like let's just see how it goes, to doing a weekend bike packing trip. But I think all of us collectively show different parts of cycling in different capacities based on interest, fit level, bike options, bike styles that we own, whatever. I think that's really where our medium is very diverse of what we can do with it. You know, like Russ, I would have never thought of like bike fishing. Like that would have never crossed my mind, but I'm very aware of it because of all your videos. Like I've fished like twice in my life, but I get it. You know, like, okay, that's cool. But like, I would have never been even shown that if I hadn't seen your stuff. And so I think that's really where, you know, we open up things to hopefully cyclists that are new, old, you know, or whatever, at any different level of like, you can do whatever you want. If you want to go down and catch a trout, if you want to go up the mountain and go put your tent out somewhere and look at the stars at night, if you want to put your BMX bike on your back and break your collarbone and then ride your ass home, you can do it. We're all here, you know, like that's it.
Yeah, for me, I got into cycling, you know, like I mentioned a little bit about my story. Like I was a smoker, my truck died, I needed to get around. So
it's a really funny story to get into it. But I love it. It's great.
But from the very beginning, it was from a very utilitarian purpose. You know, I needed the bike as a means to do something. It wasn't the end within itself. And I didn't actually watch my first bike race until probably, I don't know, 7 years after I'd been, you know, bike commuting and bike touring. It just wasn't even on my radar. I know a lot of people go from the racing end and then they expand in other directions. But for me, I was going from the purely utilitarian end. Now, I grew to appreciate racing. But I think, you know, since I have such that utilitarian background or utility background, you know, like I love like combining things on bike, you know, so fishing, you know, watercolors, camping, and depicting that on the YouTube channel and other social media stuff. Just because I think, you know, it's one thing to use the word bike commute and try to get people inspired, but that sounds so boring, right? It's like you're biking to work,
really
you know? So you got to make it fun. So either like bike fishing, bike painting, you know, there was when we lived in Portland, there's this great little climb up into the Arboretum, and halfway up, there was a archery range. And for the longest time, I was threatening to get like a bow and arrow set. And
full Hunger Games.
Bike up there, you know, shoot a couple of arrows, bike back down, freak people the hell out in downtown Portland.
That's awesome. That's so good.
But it's good to, I think, show the alternatives, other things that you can do on the bike. And I think one of the challenges, however, is when you do that and your channel isn't cycling or supermetrics focused or always selling the performance end of bikes and gear, is as a YouTuber, I think I have fewer opportunities, you know?
Yeah.
Because
I think I would agree.
Because you approach a brand and they're like, did you podium? You know?
I think there are very few people that ride that very, very like minimal edge, that can kind of do what they want and are exploring. I'm totally I don't remember his last name. Cameron, something. He's like he was like a Zwift champion or something. I don't know. He's got a cool YouTube channel. He's got a bunch of brands behind him, but he'll like throw a dart on a map and go ride like 300 miles in like a day and a half, you know, or whatever. And he'll go do like, that's a he's kind of one of the few that kind of get in that, but also again, elite athlete. He can do a 20-mile-an-hour average, and I could do a century a day too if I could do that. But like, I'm not there.
Yeah, that's still intimidating, right? Like to throw a dart and
and that's what I'm like. Nobody in our catalog of viewership would do that. Is it cool for us? Yeah, but it's also like we're the weird group, like that's the thing. And I think that's where I think all of us bring this unique aspect of, it's not like just go do something, and we're all showing something, whether it's cool products or whatever. And I think that's where the industry needs to shift. I think it needs to shift to the common man. It's like the terrible word to use, but it's like your everyday hybrid guy. If you go to any shop that's not like ultra boutique or like just in a ritzy area, what's your highest, like, the most amount of bikes sold? It's probably going to be your hybrids.
And some hybrid guys will spend good money.
Oh yeah. I'll sell $1,000 hybrid. Like I'll do it. But like, that's the thing is like, that's your market. If that's 70% of every bike store sale, like that's the guy you need to talk to.
But it even doesn't.
That's one thing I think that's like hilarious is a kind of the bike industry pundits are like, ooh, it's a bike boom. But the bikes and the stuff that they're buying, it's not the high end race bike.
No.
We'll
sell a few, but that's it.
So like, man, the amount of S-Work McLarens that we sold is just so
ridiculous. We only made 50, but we're gonna make another 50.
So like that's like COVID sales. Like
there is have you guys ever? There's a YouTube channel called Kev Central, and he reviews primarily like department store bikes, but he does it really well. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't like.
Good for him. Good for him.
He doesn't do like the Walmart challenge, where
he doesn't do the downhill Walmart challenge.
Yeah, which is doesn't anyone like? It's good like clickbait, but it doesn't really serve. I think the people
my
that
health insurance is not that good.
Yeah, so his channel's blown up, and he's serving that market. It's
for sure.
Not stuff I'm interested in. I'm glad someone is and is making content around that. So.
Yeah.
I think that's the cool aspect of like, I mean, kind of at the end of the day, he's serving a market, and we all hope that eventually like they'll come see us, like like when it's just like, look, we're marginally above that, marginally, but like,
but at the same time, he's making, he is making videos to help people make a purchase decision.
Yeah. To get into cycling.
Right. Where I think, us to a certain degree, you certainly have to do that from time to time, especially to try and get brands to hopefully work with us.
Yeah.
Which I know in my case is few and far between. I don't really care.
Right.
I think it's a missed opportunity for a lot of, especially the bigger, like the I don't know what that word is. Like the legacy brands, like legacy brands like Trek and stuff. Like I think they're missing out huge to not be talking to people like us, to not be like, you
only
guys
be on cycling tips or whatever.
Yeah. Like, well, we want to show, like, do you have any idea how many people are shopping for your, lower to mid-level, like Trek Crockett? Like, do you have any idea? Like, do you look at your website to see how many times that's clicked on? Like, do you like Specialized? Do you have any idea how many people look at like your aluminum Diverges? Like,
right.
Do you have you looked at the amount of views that like my Diverge videos get? Like,
I think industry wise, that's definitely for sure 100%. Because like that's your your Tiagra guy, like that's your bread and butter, or Sora or Claris. Now it's actually honestly
Claris good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. But like that's your bread and butter. That's your 70% of your sales, pretty much on average, is going to be that guy or below, like in your hype. Like that's your market, and I think that's really where like.
I'd put 105 in there.
Well, sure. Yeah, no, for sure. But I think that the funniest part is like, you're only going to see that. Like right now, Cycling Tips is doing a great series on gravel bikes. I think it's rad. But like, I think it's a very different mindset that they're having than we would all have on all of those bikes. And I think that's really where, everybody who's going to spend or invest is going to want those kind of different, viewpoints.
So here's the thing too. I think there's value in them investing in smaller creators like us, because I feel like the typical the average viewer that research products on YouTube, I feel like they're pretty media savvy, right?
Yeah.
So if they
like
see
a highly
something,
produced video.
If they see something on, that sponsored racers riding, there's going to be like a healthy amount of skepticism. Or if something,
I agree.
If it's on cycling tips and you also see a banner ad right next to it.
For their magazine, and like,
discount codes and stuff.
That there's going to be like a healthy amount of skepticism, and I think it might be good to, definitely good to have it on those channels just because of pure reach, right? But I also think a lot of people are savvy enough to when they see those things reviewed or presented, they're also like, well, do they actually really like it? It says like sponsored video or ad,
like paid ad. Like we are like, and they're very upfront. I'm like, we're paid to say this. Anyway, this thing's great.
I think, I mean, even that, I think that's really where, their whole series was sponsored by Giro, I believe, is the main sponsor, and like they had like Continental tires on everything. But like, again, it's this very analytical thing, but it's like realistically, like, what are you going to use the bike for? Like, and I think there was some cool viewpoints. I've been watching it because obviously we're all consuming a lot of content right now. But I think that's really where like we all have a very unique perspective. Like me and Eric, we both had a Poseidon X, and we both built it in very different ways, And I think that's really where like I loved your video because it was very very different. You had very unique things that I, or whatever that were different. But that's the thing. Like you get this well-rounded, perspective.
I'm gonna highlight, or I highlighted.
Yeah, this is good.
This is good. So yes, I mean, you guys can all read. I'm not going to read out loud, but I think that's true. But it's to the detriment of like the industry as a whole and to the cycling family, where you put more emphasis on the people that fly first class rather than getting the people, the plebs in econ or coach, get them
right next to the bathroom in the back.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a bad strategy.
I think so. Yeah. I don't think. I'm trying to think back to what the margins were like in the shop, but I don't think the margins were not higher on bigger bikes.
They were less.
It's less, but it is like, of course, 20% margin on 10 grand is better than 40% on. I mean, no bikes are higher. Yeah, like no bikes are higher than 35%. Mike, like still like the.
No matter
margins on bike stocks.
It depends. So to be completely transparent, there are, and I told that I've been on this soapbox for many of years. There are brands that are better to get behind. Like I worked at a Giant dealer, and I worked at a Specialized dealer. I worked at Performance, so that was like Fuji, Kestrel, the whole bit, and their whole house brand. As a brand to get behind, I really like what Giant's doing because Giant makes their own stuff. So Giant is like the closest thing to direct to consumer and supporting local business, and you have a shop that you can actually go to and rely on.
So they have the best margins out of all the brands, or
no. See, here's the thing: they could have better margins, but their pricing is more competitive, right? So that's what I'm saying. So Giant, if you look at like the new TCR, and I know we're getting into racing, so I'm just going to preface this, like the new TCR. It stacks right up against a Specialized Tarmac, but it's significantly cheaper because Giant makes it. Giant makes bikes for everybody. Because they're doing it in-house, instead of like being competitive as far as like price point, they bring the price point down because they don't have to pay anyone to make their stuff. So if you're going to get behind a brand, you're going to get more bike for less money and still get a shop behind it. Why not? You're not, and they don't pull a lot of gimmicks or like a lot of specialized parts. Specialized, get it? So like that was the thing. Like I worked at a Specialized dealer. Like I don't want to have to, replace some proprietary frame part or whatever. They're very simple on like
5 years from now. Someone's going to bring in like a first gen Future Shock.
There it is. Yeah. Or no. Is that a Future Shock bearing, Eric, or is that a regular headset bearing? I don't know.
It's a regular headset bearing, but it's one of the annoying 1 3/8 or something like.
Oh yeah, exactly. Is that a 2013 or 14 bearing? Because they're very different. I don't want to deal with that.
I've got enough of these hanging around because I have enough specialized. So we'll just
yeah. There you go. So that's what I mean. Like that's the cool thing. If you're gonna get behind a brand, and I think direct to consumer, it makes sense, but you lose. There's a lot of things you lose going that route. To where if you really look at it after a year of ownership, if you actually ride the bike regularly, you really, that cost savings really goes away. I just saw Chris in the comments. Yeah, the Revolt 2, $1,000 aluminum bike comes with, I believe it's Sora or Tiagra, one of those group sets. But like $1,000 to get into an aluminum gravel bike, hell yeah! From a name brand, comfortable geo, like why not? Mm-hmm. But you look at anybody else, they're having to pay that 15 to 20% extra to make their bike because somebody else is doing it. So I think that's really where it really kind of boils down to the shop.
But I think it's like here to make it abundantly clear what Fail 2 actually is. Is here's Giant has this $1,000 Revolt that would be a great option for probably a lot of people.
We all need one.
Be a fantastic who would be a fantastic audience for someone like that like them to try.
All of us, Giant. Are you listening? Are you listening to
actually
this?
Russ in a video like 7 months ago you had brought up, maybe that's a little bit long, but some people were giving you a hard time about not talking about cheap stuff enough, and you said you weren't into it.
Yeah. Well, so two things. For my own personal preference, no, but I did I reviewed the Marin Nicasio, which I actually ended up liking for a $900 gravel bike, 650B, wide range mullet, awesome. But one of the challenges actually is it's harder to find the right contact at a larger company like Giant. Whereas like Crest Bike, I can email Matt, or like whatever small brand. It's usually operator owner. But with Giant, they've got an agency of record, they got a marketing team, and even though it's a bike I want to review, it's the right price point. It's this labyrinth of like, who do I ask? Who do I ask?
Right. Yeah. No. And you know what? And trust me. Hey, I see the comments. The conduct brakes, for anyone who say anything, totally agree. Ugly. Do I understand how they work? Yes, but totally ugly. But no, I think Russ, I think you have a perfect point to where like it's hard. It's very difficult, the accessibility for us, where we're like, you know what, we want to produce content, and like the Marin, we both of us rode the event in Quixote. Like it's once you go bigger, where there are more players in that space, you're gonna get, it's gonna be the please hold, let's connect you to this, and at best, if you're lucky enough to actually get a phone number or whoever, because your email is gonna be tossed into the junk pile to some intern that doesn't want to be there, that you'll never hear back from. That's where it goes, and from 90% of it. And I think that's really where, like, there are some brands that actually reach out to us. Like WTB hit me up after my Byway review. I did that because I own the Byways. Mm-hmm. It did really well. They hit me up like, hey, we'd love to, loved your feedback. Would you like to review this tire? I'm like, sure, that sounds great. I think that's really where like you realize people who are aware of this online market, because essentially at the end of the day, that's what we're doing.
Oh wait, can I share? I'm going to share the Phil Guyman quote because I thought this would be good. I'll embiggen my screen.
So this to enhance.
So hopefully you guys can read this. This is a Phil Guyman, pro world tour racer, has his own YouTube channel, chases down KOMs, does a lot of traveling. I actually quite like it. Again, like not super into racing, but Phil's a funny guy. Here in this tweet thread, he's kind of lamenting how backwards some of the larger bike brands are. He talks about stepping out and doing his own social media with his YouTube, and how the brands that support the tour, they haven't keyed in on that yet, and seeing how that's such a big opportunity and everything. Instead, like the very last point, it's like now all these pro racers are riding Zwift, where it doesn't even matter what bike they have because they're like on a computer.
Yeah. Yeah, like how is Canyon supposed to sell that bike? Like,
the Canyon trainer bike, like with the hover bar, like
yeah, I've tried to review budget bikes from larger brands, so like Canyon and Cannondale, not the Slate, but like the Topstone, the normal looking one,
the aluminum one, the aluminum one,
yeah. Even like the Giant, I've reached out, the Tamlin, or no, that's Raleigh.
That's right.
So I've tried, but it's actually it's more difficult.
It's hard.
The larger the brand gets. So that's one reason I review boutique bikes, even though that's not like my intent, but it's easier.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really where like, no, I mean, to be honest, like that's the thing. Like I'm always on the hunt for like, cool stuff or whatever. And I don't do as many bike reviews as like Russ does, but like, that's the thing is like, you're going to get just piled into somebody's inbox that they're going to see whatever. There's no best subject line that we can all give, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, and I think that's and I've had mixed success with different ones that I've tried over the years, but I think that's it. Like, it's just like, is the intern gonna like forward your email? Probably not.
But isn't that a huge miss on that intern's part to not be looking for something
if they're watching
to send, like to reach out? Like, it shouldn't be, obviously I'm on a high horse, but like, and like, I don't want to do the work like you guys do. Maybe that's the problem.
Just send the bikes over. It'll show. It'll just send the bikes to the shed. Do you have is the PO box a shed? Like, is that what it is?
It can be. But like, isn't that a huge oversight? Like, isn't that a huge miss? Like, okay, all right, guys, we came up with a $1,000 bike. Now, get him on that $10,000 TCR and sell that $1,000 bike. Like, look at that.
Put the $1,000 bike in the background. Maybe someone will ask about
it. Make it just kind of coming around each corner itself.
You know what it is? It's the entire like car dealership demographic of you put the Ferrari in the showroom, but you sell the Camry. Like that's
what dealership is that?
Don't ask questions. All right, like that's like
the Ferrari Toyota dealership.
Yeah, exactly. You haven't been to one of those? Yeah. The new Corolla is awesome. No, that's it. Like it's you're selling. It's the old car industry, and I saw comments about it. Like, it is the car industry. You sold, the guys that would race the Mustangs when it came out on Sunday, they'd sell the V6 on Monday. Like, that was it. It's the rental car. And I think that's the problem is it's not that. It's so much, there's so much more education with these consumers that, like, I would be shocked at. I knew somebody would come in and they would cross shop. Look, they knew all the competitor, and that was awesome for me. I love that kind of tech stuff. Like, that was my bread and butter. But you also have the guy who just is there because it's his minimum wage job during college, who doesn't care. He just has to hit some kind of metric, so it's really interesting to see the kind of similarities between the two, but it's very different because it's more accessible. Like, you can't get someone who's 15 who saved for a year working a minimum wage job. And I had one kid that came in one time and he was like, look, I can get a really crappy Honda Civic, or I can get like a really badass bike. And I was like, dude, you're not wrong. Like, that's very true. And like, he bought a full carbon, like, Dura-Ace bike. And I was like, yeah, dude, you probably get there at the same time your crappy Honda Civic will, because it'll break down or whatever it was.
And he's like,
yeah,
not break down.
Well, sorry. What do you, Corrado, Jetta, like what?
Ford Fiesta.
I'm a Volkswagen guy. It will break down.
It will break down. Yeah. You'll break your oil pan. It's fine. I'm just saying, like, that was his mindset of just like, I wanted a really good bike or a really crappy car. He got a good bike.
So, like, I mean, that's another good point is that a lot of people, unless they're really into bikes or bike enthusiasts, have no idea how much bikes cost or why they cost how much. You know, like I feel like I spend a good maybe 50% of my time in the comments being that, yes, I know it's expensive, but it's because of these reasons. Even like bike bags, you know, like I'll review a bag and people freak out. It's like, I can buy those materials for $5 and sew it myself. It's like, by all means.
Please do that. Please do that and send me a picture.
My last two interviews, you know, we had Martina from Swift Industries and Jay from Bags by Bird, and I asked them straight up, it's like, what do you say when people say your stuff is too expensive? And they're, you know, like Jay showed the machines, like
call me in a year. You know,
yeah, he bought a bar tack machine that costs like $3,000, and like his other sewing machines are a couple $100. It's like there's all this capital investment, you know, that he has to pay off, and you know, lives in the United States, which is expensive and crappy health insurance. So
we know it.
No, I don't.
Well, sorry, Eric doesn't.
I don't have that problem.
Eric's like, why is your stuff so expensive?
Yeah, that's right. See, Eric, he doesn't have to pay anything for health insurance, but he gets a lot when he has to ship stuff to him. That's where it is. It's on the you like I ship like. Thanks for the shout out, by the way, for like the parts I sent him. I had to fill like a form of like these are not illegal drugs. Like basically when I went to UPS. Drugs. Yeah, like to ship him something. I was like, this is way too complex. Like I had a label and the guy's like, no. What's in the box? And I was like, bicycle components. What kind of components? I was like, oh man. I was like,
one's like a ninja star.
Yeah.
And another thing is like
it's brass knuckles that shift your gears. And then it's like, you know, it was just, it's all a balance, you know?
Yeah. Okay. You guys in the YouTube comments, what do you guys think is, you know, your personal pet peeve about the bike industry, their big bike industry fail? Let us know in the comments below. We'll highlight it. A couple of comments regarding bikes, direct bikes. You know, so I've not personally tried the bike from Bikes Direct. I know that they have like Motobicon. And
there was one I almost was worth doing.
Yeah.
There was they bought out this Kestrel, who, you know, again, name brand. I used to sell Fuji, so I have no problem with Fuji or Kestrel. They came out with a gravel bike. I don't know what happened, and this might be for people who are an hour in, a little bit of controversy. I forgot what the model was, but they had it on there, and it was a force build, and I want to say it was under $2,000. Full force build. It cleared a 650 by 2.0, 700 by 45, like very progressive as far as like at the time when it came out. Kestrel came out with that bike, and then the whole performance thing went bankrupt. And so I'm assuming Bikes Direct bought out their old stock. So it was like a $4,000 retail bike for like $1,800, $1,600, like great. Like you could buy it, sell the frame, keep the parts. Like it had DT Swiss wheels that were really nice. Like it was a really good spec.
So are the bikes generally reputable, and he's just buying low and selling medium?
Yeah, that's the thing, is they're not. That was like the interesting thing to where I actually looked at it again. But then when you like after that had kind of gone away, and I think they have a GRX like 2x build still with that bike because that's not as popular because the other one was 1x. But yeah, it's all Motobicon and all that kind of stuff, to where I tell people like that's why you recognize brands at Walmart. That's why, you know, like, because all they're doing, because I know how it all kind of functions, is these brands are just paying licensing deals. You know, it's for a sticker, essentially. Like that's all they're doing. So it's not a Motobicon, it's not a whatever, because that was a reputable brand back in the day. So those customers that are buying bikes for their kids are like, that's what I rode. It's not that. It's a China direct brand that's using parts that are not tested.
Licensing.
It's a licensing, and so they're buying a sticker. They're buying, basically they're paying Motobicon X, or whoever owns the brand name now, they're paying them X amount a year or per unit or whatever, so they can use their name, so it's recognizable, and it's not just like, you know, Ching Chong Bing Bong bicycles. Like that's just that's how it goes. Like you want some brand recognition, and you'll pay for it, because at the end of the day, if you're selling 1 million units through Walmart every year, like it's worth paying 20% to the brand that's recognizable, you know?
So let's see, we've got, in terms of YouTube
bottom
chat.
brackets. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I believe in that.
I like this one because I feel this one. Bike shoe manufacturers assume the whole world has skinny feet. That's Giro, man. Giro is like you have to be like, I don't know, a ballerina to get your feet into some of their shoes. I think so. I've got like average sized feet, and I had the Terraduro and upgraded to the HVs, and I still had to put a shoe stretcher in them to get my feet in there.
Oh, really? The HVs are still too narrow for you?
Yeah.
That was like me for CD. Like CD was like just a ballerina shoe with like boas.
Yeah.
I have no issues with shoes.
No.
Yeah.
Because he had ballerina feet.
No, it's because his feet have shrunk from all the ice that he has to walk in. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I never agree on standards like bottom brackets.
Threaded. That's it. Done.
I think that's coming around a little bit. Like I think.
Yeah, I think there was like this wild explosion of let's just try all these standards, and now it's like, oh yeah, maybe not so good.
Yeah. Threaded all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Yeah.
Do you guys remember when Specialized made the stump jumper like 2 or 3 years ago, and they tried to put like swearing in their marketing? And they're like, no more bullshit proprietary standards. Like,
right?
Yeah,
fucking
like,
dumb.
Like Specialized with your like 135 through axle. Like, no, don't even talk to me about that.
They went to
I remember those days. I remember
all the new they just went to like a regular tapered head tube. They went to a threaded bottom. Like they're like, hell yeah, threaded bottom bracket, boys. Brother. Like, you ready for that, brother? And it's like, well, yeah.
You ready for regular maintenance at home, brother? Like, like, it's not okay. Like, I get it. Yeah.
So Steve Fuller, new riders would be better served by seeing more people riding bikes in street clothes versus like, or even for fitness. And again, not anti-racing, but when every piece of a bike marketing material you see, has someone fully kitted up, as someone new to cycling, someone that just bought a bike during COVID, it's like that is not me by like a long shot.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
There was this really cool video that John posted like 4 or 5 years ago. It was like a minute and a half long, and it was like a pretty similar story to what you were saying, Mike, about that customer that bought a bike instead of a Civic. Mm-hmm. He's like, I always just kind of wanted like a really good bike, and then like it was like a Bianchi like Superismo, or whatever that would have been at the time. With like flat pedals that he was like cruising in jeans and like going up like banked like brick banks and like hopping and stuff. He's like, I don't know.
Road bike. It was like a road bike party spoof, basically. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. Like he was just like a guy who was like, I just knew I liked bikes and that I always wanted to own a good bike. Mm-hmm. And I know, and in his mind, he's like, I always knew Bianchi was a good bike, so I bought this Bianchi. And then it was just like fast, kind of like, speed, not metal, but like just like a fun edit of him like going somewhere in jeans and a t-shirt on like, I'm like that. And at the time, I remember like following the rules pretty heavy, and I was like, this is stupid.
So I loved Road Bike Party. Do you know how many like non-cyclists I showed Road Bike Party to? I mean, like I don't do this, but like
that's an amazing video too.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
But remember when Specialized, like I think it was when they were launching their adventure like Sequoia stuff.
Yes.
And they made those series of videos with like Sarah Swallow, Leo Wilcox, and Ultra Romance. I thought that was
the best video.
That was like a brilliant move. That was the first time where I saw a large brand kind of realize the value of these non-elite athletes. I mean, they're great athletes in their own right, but they're not like UCI World Tour athletes. That they had value. They had reach, and we're gonna kind of do some stuff with them. And like having Benedict, who we know rides in sandals.
Yeah, right. Insane. Insane. I saw him at Grinduro. like the shortest of shorts, and it's snowing. Just like respect. I can't do it. Yeah, no, fully.
But I thought that was a brilliant move on Specialized part, because I bet it cost them like a fraction of a marketing spend than if they were to work with Peter Sagan, or like
again.
Yeah.
again and again.
yeah. For the 80th time, yeah.
We should try and get Peter on the show.
We should.
Oh yeah.
He's not doing anything. He's holed up.
Yeah, right. Like, what is he doing these days? He's wheeling, eating cookies up his mountains by his house. But I mean, he's got time. Like,
yeah. I'd like to get who's kind of the hipster ex-pro cyclist is Taylor Finney.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, be like,
I've seen him like pedaling in the bedrocks.
wait, Eric, what was your impression? Go for it.
He's just gonna be like, just zen out on the bike, solid.
But see, we couldn't be called Alternative Cycling Network. It would just be like, there's one cyclist. And
there's the rest of us.
There's one cyclist and then the alternates.
Yeah.
We're all just waving.
Yeah, just like I think I know how to pedal a bike.
I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. I think we're better cyclists than we're giving ourselves credit. It's hurting my ego a little bit.
Again, my mantra is like, if you're slow, you better look good. Like aesthetically phenomenal going up the hill. And you got to really look at it because like I'm going very slow. It's a very long time going up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. You guys in the YouTube chat, let us know where you're watching from. We've got 196 people in the room.
Jesus, that's pretty good.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Look at us.
I know. Imagine ACN in the EF Gone Racing video.
That would be us. Be like, hey, when do people leave? Yeah, we'll be there like 3 days later. It's fine.
I'd show up to the start of the race late.
Oh yeah. It's fine. Because you couldn't get your headphones. Yeah, that's
yeah. Oh god.
Nice. Edinburgh, Scotland.
All right.
Nice.
Scotland.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Oh, look, there's another Canadian Canadian brother.
Right. Brother. Someone from Missoula. Hey there, Zach.
Hey.
Where's Missoula?
Small. You probably never heard of it.
Costa Rica.
Nice.
I love Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Oh, San Diego. Mark, what's up?
Sweet.
San Francisco. Love San Fran.
Yeah.
Never been.
Australia.
North of Sweden. Dang. This is like a global audience.
Multicultural.
Yeah.
This is
the global cycling network here. So.
Right. Hey, no. You can't say that. We're gonna get sued. Man, take it back.
Copyright strike. Copyright strike.
I've been there. It's not great. Don't do it.
With some good-looking border collies.
Yeah.
I like Rob's parts unknown. That's great. That's awesome.
Right. All right. So we've got racing as its only kind of main emphasis, cycling media and how it doesn't invest in smaller creators, missed opportunity. What's the third cycling fail that we're going to close out with here? Is it bottom bracket standard?
I think it might. You know what? I think it might be because
let's lump it under kind of needless innovation, maybe.
Sure.
Like what things have you guys seen that have been like, did we really have to do that? That's
Yeah, there was a frustrating amount of internal cable routing that went on. Like, I don't know if you've ever worked on a tri bike, like a full, the felt FRD that I built on the channel like a long time ago. That was like routing a cable inside the bar into the stem, past the steer tube, down the down tube to the brake. I was like, wow, I hate this. I hate this so much.
How do you even do that? Do you have to like?
Did you ever work? Wait, Eric. Did you ever work on like a first gen rim brake Vias?
No, I never did, and I'm very happy that I didn't because I don't understand how it works.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. That's just for Anyways, no, I get it. Go ahead.
The way that works is actually the way that you think it does. Like you're like, that sounds like it would be fairly intrusive and not so good. Yes. So it actually I'm trying to think of how it actually went past the steer tube. There's a lot of fairings. There's a lot of fairings on them that actually unbolt that you can't tell when the bike's together, but when you're working on it, you're like, oh, this huge nose cone actually comes off of this bike, and the cable will route there a little bit, and then there'll be a way for it to get into the head tube. It will go beside the steer tube actually, and then once it gets past it, either by going beside it and under it, or however it does it, that is the most frustrating part. And then like they're like a motorbike. They actually have like steer stops, so that
bump stops,
like you don't end up with like cable pull. Like if you get rear cable pull, on your rear brake,
it's auto cornering.
It's auto lock, like it's gonna lock up your rear wheel. So they do it's a hateful thing to do. Like and that bike had to have like a way to adjust the like brake cable tension. And that was in the stem.
Oh geez.
No, Russ, you missed out. It was awful. The first Venge, oh my god. I was there when it came out. We saw a lot of them because it was a fast bike, super fast. I rode it. I'm like, oh my god, like it made you feel like a superhero. Mm-hmm. But we had to sell those bikes, and I'm body geometry certified for Specialized. Like we had to sell a fit, basically, like, or the owner had to basically like guarantee, like, okay, we're gonna take a loss on getting a bike fit because if you didn't get fitted for that bike, building it and rebuilding it, even to change like stem stack, like taking a spacer out,
it would mess with cables.
Recabling the entire bike because everything came out of the stem. So if you wanted to like drop it, no. All the brake cables, all the derailleur cables, all had to come out. It was like a $250 service because it would take our qualified, specialized, mechanics half a day.
Yeah, it's 4-hour job. It's hateful.
Yeah. And they would just like, I'm like, and then it was like half a day and like a necessary like stiff IPA after. Like that was the thing. So we had to I had to do a bike fit, retool, basically said like, okay, that's here. And they would actually give you like the catalog of like, this is the spacer stack they would need and the handlebar or whatever. But if you didn't sell it that way, it was, or let's say you got fit in a year and you're like, I can drop a spacer, $250. No, it was $250 if you want to drop a spacer, sure. But like now, like that's the thing is like it was insane, and the bike was heavy. Oh my god, it was heavy. It was like the stem was like 4 pounds. It was ridiculous.
No.
Like I know, you know what I mean. Like it was the first gen like Via stem was like. It's like 800 grams or whatever. It was like 2 pounds. Like it was ridiculous because everything had a route through it. So structurally it had to be very stiff.
Right.
But like, and you also have like 8 cables going through it. So like, yeah, it's
8 cables.
Don't ask questions. That's where when ETAP came out, we sold a lot of Viases. Yeah. No, because it was only brake cables, and the brakes didn't work great. Like the rim brakes, the tri brakes, awful. Bad. But
I actually think the reason there's more boosters for stuff like ETAP isn't, definitely not cost, and I think like reliability is, it's probably more from their convenience from the shop standpoint. That's why it's like, buy it. It's awesome, But I think
we love it.
Yeah.
As like a consumer, it doesn't ship it doesn't cook me breakfast for that price.
No.
Well. Yeah,
you could probably hire someone if you gave it to them to cook you breakfast for at least a little while.
Very true. Very true. Oh my god. Yeah.
So I lost track. What's the third one? Is it?
It's just like the crappy innovation. Just crappy innovation.
Like I think innovation for innovation's sake. I think was the Venge more aero? Hell yeah. Was it great for the consumer? No way. I think there's a lot of things now that look very similar. Because you put a bike in a wind tunnel, eventually they're all gonna kind of look the same because eventually like everyone's gonna figure out what's the most aerodynamic shape. And I don't think that's innovating. I think that's one of the real limiting things. Again, going back to the first one, if you're only
if your only metric is like speed and aerodynamics, then it dictates all the bike design, you know?
Yeah.
And for a long time, you know, prior to the gravel, you know, it was light, stiff, light, stiff, light, stiff, aero, light, stiff, aero.
Yeah.
And all the bikes that were coming out essentially looked the same. And there were very slight iterations. Yeah.
They're boring.
But then since, you know, gravel came in and it broke people's heads. Like they didn't know if it was a road bike or a mountain bike. Should the bars be wider? You know, how do we make more tire clearance? You know, people want to carry stuff. All of a sudden now there's like this big explosion of kind of creativity and, you know, just experimentation, for better or for worse. But the point being that, you know, once they were able to get out of that road racing silo, it just, you know, it created like a whole new, there's a whole new range of bikes that fit more people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely good innovation. Like I remember, I think my biggest problem is, and I think this is just a lack of what you can do with two triangles welded together. But like, I remember when Open came out with the dropped chainstay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I was like, that's cool. Yeah. Everybody does that now. Like, and like you have to get the chainstay out of the way of the chain ring.
Right there. Yeah.
Like it needs to be like, it makes sense. You know, so that you can have that shorter rear triangle. But I feel a little bit embarrassed to ask this because I don't really own any actually wildly modern gravel bikes.
Sure.
Are they 142 by 12 still?
Yeah, in the rear, yeah.
They all are? Okay.
The front is still hit and miss. I'm a big fan of 12 in the front, but there's stuff like the Sigmata, I think is still 15 in the front. But the benefit is like, I don't mind a bike that's that way because you can get a reducer like spacer that you can inset, which is not a big deal. Yeah. So I don't mind it. But the front's still kind of dealer's choice. But
they're still 100 mil wide.
Yeah, nobody's doing a boost rear.
There's no need to do a boost gravel bike.
Well, yeah, like unless you consider like the Salsa Fargo, which is boost rear because it holds a 3-inch tire.
Oh, okay.
Like that you know, there's some weird on the fringe stuff, but like 12 like by 142 rear is like standard kind of now. Yeah.
Because I find these
hey, Swift, hey.
Like I find even you know, even the Poseidon, like it's funny how tough it is to find a crank that actually won't hit the chainstays on that because of the one, like just that 142 like chainstay width.
That was something I had a difficulty with, and I told you about when I sold you that crank set. Like
I've ground a lot of cranks to get them.
Yeah, like I ground off on my Apex cranks like the inside pedal angle because like it would hit the chainstay.
Yeah, I fixed it. It was
fine. Yeah, it was fine. It was fine on the stock crankset, but essentially you need like mountain Q like Q factor.
Yeah, slightly wider
on that frame. Yeah, and I think that's the hard part, you know. And like they do have an adapter to run that rear through axle. They can't do that with a fork, obviously, but I've swapped mine, so it was fine. But like that was definitely a thing. That was definitely a difficult thing to find.
I think that's just a problem with having wide, like really wide, and there's things you can do with chainstays. Like you can do shapes with chainstays. They
could have knocked them in a little bit on that area for 175 to 170, like on all frame sizes. They could have done that, but I think like I get it. You know, like the price point they're at, like that's more tooling, that's more manufacturing costs. Like I totally get it.
Yeah, but like I wish, and it's funny, like here I am saying that I wish that companies could do more to like have like do something other than a drop chainstay, and then Trek came out with the one with like the chainstay up really high, and I'm like, that is terrible.
No, that was Allied. Allied came out with that, like the one that's like above your chain ring.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, oh god.
I'm waiting for for something like a lefty fork treatment.
Like a single sided.
Yeah. No, they did that.
Yeah,
they did that for tri-bikes. Tri-bikes, they did it. I think it was Diamond. I could be wrong, like, but somebody did a front and rear that were opposite, like where it was like a right fork, left rear triangle, something like that. I think it was It was a tri-bike. It was obviously a tri-bike.
It sold really well too.
Well, yeah, but it's not UCI illegal, so it's like the guys who are like trying to get like KOM or get the podium on their local like tries.
Well,
it was
triathlon's not dictated by UCI anyway, so there's no rules.
It was ridiculous. It was something like that. There was somebody made a single chainstay and single fork blade bike, but they were opposite sides.
I think like that. English Cycles did like a steel TT bike like that.
Yeah.
English Cycles did it.
Yeah.
So what other needless innovation? YouTube chat.
Future Shock.
I would agree. I think lefty fork. Just it hurts my eyes. Like I have to confess I've not ridden it, but just makes me sad.
I like
double handlebars. I think we talked about that last time.
Double handlebars.
I want to ride a Lauf fork just because. Only reason why is because in my video of like the Redshift stem, I'm like, you get 2/3 of the travel for like $110, and in a Lauf you're paying $800 for 10 mil extra. Like and it's obviously going to weigh more than the equivalent. Like I want to do it just for like just to know, but like that's it.
A rigid lefty. That sounds like the worst of all worlds.
Rigid lefty. Oh fuck, Alex. That's a lot of pain and torture we're already used to. We don't need that. We get that in the comments. We don't need to ride that.
Yeah, not only is it a visual assault, but like riding it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, Eric's got his disc wheel on his fixed gear. That is the best thing I've ever seen. By the way,
well, it needs to be there.
So hard.
You don't know.
No, because
you never know if I'm going to use it.
I was the 09 Fuji Track Pro guy with the head 3 front, Chubb hub to H+ Sun rear wheel. Like that was me, and it was great. But like that disc brake front wheel on that bike is the best thing I've ever seen. Like it's so good.
So many people.
Oh, I know. Like it was great. Like it was like the inner fixie kid in me was like, yes, do it. Like I would take that over a conversion any day of the week.
I think,
yeah.
Let's see. Internal spoke nipples. Kind of a pain in the butt.
Oh,
yeah. I'd agree.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Worst thing ever.
I would agree with that.
I have to say, like I've been, I've grown to like tubeless, but there's quite a steep learning curve, to do it at home without a compressor, and especially if it was kind of a Franken tubeless build.
Yeah, they can certainly be hateful.
I think now there's a lot of cool innovation. Like even Giant has one, or there's a few companies that make just basically like a tank that you would pump up with your standard floor pump that would act as like a Joe Blow, basically. Like that's really cool. Like I had a lot of guys that would love that, and they would just pump it up before they go on their mountain bike ride, and they would just have it just in case, like for whatever reason, their bikes are hanging off their. Oh, really?
Not that one specifically, not that brand.
Yeah.
But I was testing one where, you kind of filled up the tank. It worked for intermittent use. And it also kind of assumed a pretty good fit on your tire and rim already. Like if it was a little sloppy fit, like you had to get it all in one go. So it was like super frustrating.
Yeah, like I think that's where like tubeless now, like I said, like with Giant, like I think everything over $1,000 comes with a tubeless valve and tire already. Like you just got to add sealant and you're good to go.
It'd be it's already taped.
Yeah, no, like literally like anything. I think I believe it's over 800 or $1,000. It's at least 1,000. It might be 800 now. Like all the, like even the Defy, like road bike at whatever, cheapest price point is tubeless setup from the factory. Like they're one of the few brands to do that. Everything up beyond that is tubeless. Mountain bikes, road bikes, doesn't matter what it is. Everything's tubeless beyond a certain price point.
I wonder if tubeless do you think tubeless will trickle down to like the budget bikes?
Oh, I did tubeless for hybrid hundreds of times.
Oh, really?
No, the guys, yeah, because there's the guy that's gonna buy like the $600 to $700 hybrid bike, like may know about it or maybe curious.
Well, I feel like they're the ones that are like the most afraid of getting a flat. And
no, and I literally told him like, dude, I haven't had a flat in years. Like, do I carry a tube every day? Yes. Do I ever use it? No. It's probably corroded. It's fine. Like that's it. But like I told him like, look, your bike at that point does not come tubeless ready. can I make it tubeless ready? Yeah, give me a day and a half. It's fine. Like I might have to
at that price point though,
budget.
It wasn't a tubeless compatible rim. Did you have to?
Right. It was an extra. It was either an extra layer of tape, or because you kind of eventually learn like what bike and rim combo works, or it was the standard 2 layers, with a skinnier. I know this sounds really weird. A skinnier like rubber rim strip, and you would run that because and that would basically just like kind of sit in between the tire, and when you inflate it, it would kind of push out and it would seal. So it wouldn't seal great initially. It would leak a lot. So you'd maybe put an extra ounce or so of sealant in it. But once it's sealed, you're kind of golden at that point. So it's just the initial setup. And the best thing with Giant tape is they use 3M. It's the same brand that Easton and Envy uses. It's like weirdly clear brown tape. So you only have to run 1 layer of Giant tape.
Right.
And technically that's the lightest thing. But yeah, if you run 2 of those, oh my God, dude, it was crazy. You could set up anything tubeless. It was awesome. Was it a lot of money? Would they want to spend it? No. So they'd buy like the stands kit, and then I'd sell them like a $2 rubber liner, or whatever it was, and then just like make it work. But no, they loved it. Like that was the thing. You had to get to that kind of guy.
So
Gorilla tape. There, Eric. Yep.
Always.
I use Gorilla tape, like not even cutting it for the fat bikes. Like during wintertime, I have to get the fat bikes studded up. Just 2 layers of that.
Yeah, I'll Gorilla tape. I will shamelessly use Gorilla tape for anything.
Eric, would you do like you put the Gorilla tape on the side and you like slice it with like the X-Acto?
I've done that.
To get the rim width.
Yep, I've done that.
All right.
But you can buy like the Gorilla tape, like the to-go size is 25 mil wide, and it's perfect. Okay. Like if you pull hard enough, you can get that to like seat in anything. That's what the Poseidon is set up with. That is what the other Poseidon is set up with. That is what I raced cross country on last year, all year. The Crux is set up with Gorilla tape. I think I have 1 bike set up here with stands right now, and it was like a treat to use it. Actually, I like forgot how good like Gorilla tape's pretty good, and I remember being like, "Nice, this worked. I'm only going to use this." And then I used stands with like proper tubeless rim and tubeless tire, which is on that Schwinn, the Moab, and how quick it was just like toot.
Yeah. You get the ping ping, and then that's it. Yeah.
And like they haven't lost air, and I'm like, okay.
No, I 100% agree. Like that was the thing with like certain rims of mine. I'm just like, I've set them up dry, like, and it's totally okay. Like that's like when you're like, I get it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, to be able to race without sealant would be cool.
So I think we've hit the 90-minute mark. Should we take it home?
Yeah, let's just drive it right in.
Let's drive it right in.
Yeah.
All right, everyone in chat, thanks again for joining us. Our 3 industry bike fails, I've lost track.
I think we had like 3.5, like 3.5, or like 2.75, something like that. It was
a focus. The focus on racing, the fail that they missed the mark on the marketing that they could be doing. Mostly us complaining that we don't get cool stuff enough.
Hello, everybody who's listening to this. Please send us cool free things. Yeah.
There's no like Tour de France to throw money at.
Yeah. You have all this money. Hello.
10%.
Look at all 3 of us right now. Yeah.
10% of what you were going to spend, and the payoff. Payoff.
Look, Eric had to drive 47 miles to get those headphones right now. Like that's where we're at. You have all this money in a bank account that you could spend on us.
Yeah. Just help us out, brother.
Yeah. Brother. Supporting local business, brother. Yeah.
So it's mostly complaining.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And then bad innovations, but we ended up just kind of talking about all the good ones.
Thank you, chat. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So what did we learn?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Got it.
We need to plan more often.
I know, it said like 5 minutes before. But anyway, I'm going to take it home. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, again, for joining us on YouTube chat. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to have hopefully our final 3 logo designs and have you guys vote. Big thanks to everyone that's already submitted the logo. That is like freaking awesome. And if you guys want to throw a design in the hat, the email is alternativecyclingnetwork@gmail.com. Super creative, easy to remember, I hope.
And Russ will have that in the description because that is a lot of letters to like try to spell correctly.
I know it's more than 3 letters, but acn@gmail was already taken. I tried. So with all that said, if you guys don't already follow Eric at SpinDat and Mike at Locked In, their YouTube channels are linked in the description below. If you like my channel, you'll definitely like theirs, vice versa. And as always, thanks again for joining us. And until next time, see ya.
Keep